Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quest Unplayed, where three gamers talk about everything about gaming and have fun together. I am George, the co-host of Quest Unplayed, and this quest is joined by Anthony,
Hi, everyone.
Zach,
That's me.
and we have another guest, Mike.
Hello, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
Hi,
Doing well.
Mike.
Thanks for the invitation, guys. I'm glad to be able to talk with each of you. I'm excited for what we'll chat about.
Nice.
my
We're very happy to have you. This
I'm happy
podcast.
to be here.
Okay, thank you for coming. So this podcast is sponsored by Minimap, your ultimate gaming hub and a gaming companion app. You can sync your game accounts, make your game collection, connect with other gamers in our community, and do everything and anything about gaming. And
Hell
we
yeah.
will be playing that sponsor music. This is kind of like a warm-up for us.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the band they got for this.
And I wonder if I can actually.
We're doing it again. We're going in
I
again.
almost did it. I was very tempted, but yeah, I was. Maybe I should try to find the band behind it or something.
Is that? Do you leave that on at the gym when you're working out in the morning? Just do.
I should do it. I mean, I sometimes listen to our own podcast when I work out, so I do
This is a long part.
do the 30 seconds of it. So
I listen to it when I drive. It's very dangerous.
awesome.
Very.
So Mike, could you introduce yourself a little bit, like briefly, before we kind of start, so that
Yeah. I'm Mike Strollart, the director and lead artist for Below the Stone. Again, very happy to be here to talk about the game and to talk with everyone here. We had a pretty big journey getting into early access, which we've just hit the 1-year anniversary of just recently. So that was a big deal for us. And Below the Stone is a game I've been very proud of. It's a extraction roguelike about dwarves on the quest to the deepest depths, where only the most risk-taking dwarves will be rewarded with the riches lying below the stone. So that's my practiced elevator pitch, of course. But I'm glad to be here and to talk with everyone. That's my introduction, I guess.
Okay.
I love it. Love it.
I love it too. Okay, so before we dig into the game and Mike a little bit more, we always do the gamer type quiz with our guests.
Okay.
So are you ready to take this quiz, Mike?
I'm afraid, but I guess I have to now. Now that you put me on the spot, I got to take it.
Okay, it only takes a few minutes.
I guess.
Yeah. No. I want to see.
Okay, it is finally the weekend after a long, tiring week. You play video games with a friend, or you spend quality time alone.
Oh, this is tough. I think now it's a mood thing, of course, but I think we got to play together.
All right. The new game that just released isn't my type, but a friend is urging me to play with. It is not my cup of tea, but you do it anyways, or you listen to your friend's words and play right away.
I'm always suckered into playing a game, so I'll play it. We're playing this game together.
Okay. You're thinking about joining a community with strict terms to get game information. It is too much for me, or it is okay because they have good information.
It's good to join. Just to catch up, keep up with everything.
Oh, okay. Nice. Before you buy a game, you carefully read over others' reviews, watch the trailer, check the price, or if the game looks interesting, you just trust your instinct and make the purchase.
Trust your gut. Always
Okay.
trust your gut. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh wow. Okay. I like
If
it.
someone is watching me play a game, it is perfect opportunity to show my amazing gameplay, or you are too pressured and you miss skill shots.
Ooh. See, now when somebody's watching, I feel like I miss the skill shots more often. No, I think it just it doesn't have to do with the pressure, of course not, right? Of course not. But it's just like they bring in bad luck. So we'll go with option 2 with that one.
Okay. you're always they always watch it when you miss the shot.
Yeah. It
You're
just
playing-
happens that they happen to be watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was winning before you got here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, the next question. You're playing a newly released game for the first time. Rather than having regrets, you go over tutorials, or you know how to play these type of games, so you skip the tutorial.
I'll do the tutorial. You know, I learned how important a tutorial is, so I'll do the tutorial.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's also important for Below the Stones, right?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, next question. You're playing a mystery-solving game. Based on my years of experience in my mystery-solving games, that guy is a culprit, or you have to start collecting evidence before you point someone.
I think I got to start collecting evidence because sometimes, right? They
Yeah.
they seem the type, and then the game kind of tricks you a little bit. They'll like you got this like weird guy with like the dark eyes and like glowing eyes, and it turns out he's like the butler or something. Like he didn't have anything to do about it. He's just like a nice guy. Like he has a puppy at home. Like
He was the good guy the whole time. He's
Yeah.
like,
yeah, exactly.
He has a family and like.
Yeah.
But next question. In order to equip the rune that increases defense by 0.01%, you have to return to the lobby. That's not big difference. Your friends are waiting, so you just go, or you have to tell your friends to wait and you go back to the lobby.
See, I think it's not a big difference. There was an old me that might have thought that, but like now I'm just like, all right, let's just get into this.
Good. Next question. During gameplay, your companion's character has been bitten by a zombie. To find the cure, so you decide to accompany them, or everyone in my group can get infected, so you choose to kill them.
Oh man, this one. Oh man. See, I think the find a cure thing, it's like a new quest, right? It's like now there's like a new journey that we got to go on. All right, I would go with the new quest. New find a cure. Yeah.
Okay. Even if I don't express it, I feel like I keep losing because of my friends. You lift up your friend's spirit, or you send them the link to character specific.
Oh, that one's brutal. See, with certain people, I could see like the ones who can like take the joke. I would send them the tips and tricks. Let's do that one. We'll do that one.
Okay. All right. Next question.
what did you just send me? Oh, just trying to help you out.
The character has had bad performance, but the appearance is totally my type. Considering the balance of my party, I cannot put them in my party, or you have to put them because it is your favorite character.
See, I have to do my favorite character.
Yes.
I did, with Dota, I used to be a techies main, and I would just play techies all day, and that would be my only thing. So that's me.
Okay. Good choice. Your current desktop is messy or neat?
Right now it's actually clean. Believe it or not. Yeah. How often do you get that answer?
Okay. Before getting into the game,
not much.
you search the internet just in case you end up missing achievements, or you have never played a game for the achievements.
I've never played a game for the achievements. No. I get it. For all those people out there, like, I know you're watching. I get it. But...
I know you're watching me.
Okay. Last question. Who happens to play a lot of games? You play the game you feel like playing at the moment, or you have a gaming schedule?
Ooh, I think at the moment, I think it's kind of like, my schedule's a little loose, so I'm able to like sometimes be like, all right, this guy's messaging me. He wants to play this game. All right, I can squeeze in an hour real quick.
Okay. So this one, right? First one?
Yeah.
Let's see which one. Oh, you're the harmonious
druid.
Oh wow, I don't know if I've seen that yet.
But
that was going to be druids are weak. Wait, what? Okay, we got to do this over again. We got
like weak is like.
I know.
In some games, they're not weak though.
They're not weak.
They could turn into bears. I don't think that's weak at all, man.
So that is actually like a meme. It was a popular meme in Korea. Like they always say, like, the meme is from Hearthstone. The players who have always played druids are like, oh, druids are weak, but they're not, because they keep pumping up their shields, and they're pumping up their mana, and then like you just keep saying like, oh, druids are weak, but then they're like monster druids, and then like kill the opponent at like one turn. So that was kind of like
that's gonna probably be my next D&D character. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I think I knew who came up with this. So I remember somebody telling me this a long time ago.
Okay, so you like multiplayer more than single player game?
Yeah.
You do enjoy competition, but you're better at
Yes.
multiplayer games. Okay. You go online just to mingle with friends.
Yeah, true.
You actually enjoy sharing your items with newbies.
I tend to do that. Yes,
Oh,
I'll throw some gold at the peasants. Of course, I will.
No.
I know everything about this game and remember everything. Okay. And you're here to help you. First, you have to go to this NPC, collect 10 apples, and do this, do that. You tell
Yep.
kind of newbies. Why play a game if there's no one to chat with?
Yeah, true. I mean, thing is, it depends, right? Like, it depends on the game you're going for.
Right.
I find myself playing a lot of multiplayer games, but like I'll have that like exception once in a while. Like,
right.
Enter the Gungeon is definitely like one I'll redo once in a while. Or like Nuclear Throne, I'll do once in a while. So like,
Good choices. You're a natural social butterfly.
well, we'll see about that. We'll see by the end of the podcast, right?
I don't know about that.
Yes, I mean, I already liked it. This is already fun. Yeah. So thank you for taking the gamer type quiz. I really enjoyed it. I think we never had a druid before.
And I heard something else I liked. He said he plays Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yes. Play a lot of D&D.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah, I really love that too.
I
Okay,
used to play D&D.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit deep into that a little bit later. But before we talk a little bit more about your game, let's watch the trailer of Below the Stone. Are you guys ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So hard. That goes so hard.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, everybody pulled their weight with that one. That one was a crazy. Altherion music. He did crazy with this the music in this trailer. We had Fairly, pretty big YouTuber who helped edit the trailer for us. Everybody was doing video capture. People were like throwing everything together. We have actually a Korean artist who did all the like illustrations and the animations for the trailer. So that was a big deal, kind of like pulling everybody together for that. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Did you have anything to say, Zach?
No, I just mute myself sometimes. I was gonna say that's the kind of song that if I rolled up at a stoplight and it was a nice enough day, I'd roll down my window and just blast it and look at the guy next to me. Just and roll the window back up and like.
Unless the guy follows through and do the same thing with you.
Yeah,
we'll
probably do the same.
I'm like,
he's rolling down his window playing the same music.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, get your cardboard sword. We're LARPing. No, it's definitely a dope song.
Yeah, I mean, I really love the artwork though. Like like between the actual gameplays, that there's like a lot of good artwork, and then I totally understand what is kind of going on, and you have to save the capture. Is it like a princess or is it a friend of yours or what is the?
It was a So one big thing we did with this update is a lot of people were requesting like this big meta progression thing, and I know that's sort of a gamer term, but the like meta progression, the idea of like being able to actually have long-term progression in a roguelike, right? A lot of people are tired of the roguelike formulas where it's just like, all right, I get so far and then I die, and it's reset, and then get so far and then die, and then reset, and get so far and then die, and then reset, and it's just like the same thing over and over again. So having something where you're actually building this kingdom or building this fort, it feels like way more rewarding every time you come back home. You're like, oh yeah, that's my, the alchemist I saved earlier. Oh, that's the engineer I saved earlier. Oh, that's the barber I saved. And let me get a haircut real quick while I'm here. So it's like you have all these different characters that you'll bring back, and it'll actually grow out your fort and your kingdom. And that was a big part of this update. So that's kind of what the trailer was trying to show, a little bit of the building out your kingdom, new dungeons, new combat, all these things that we've been working on for the last few months.
So this new update has to be like a very big announcement for the fans and the people who have already been playing it.
Oh, yeah. So like early access has been kind of a roller coaster where we've been all over the place. It's sort of one of those things where you could talk like this podcast alone, like there might need to be like 3 or 4 episodes to talk about early access and how it, all the things that happen with that.
You're up for it.
Yeah. And absolutely. And I mean, like, it's crazy what you have to like. There's people that release games and they barely even read their own reviews, right? And then like us in the background, like us developers, we're trying to like, we'll read everybody's reviews and we'll actually like, we'll try to message the people and be like, hey, we want to learn more about like, if they have something where they're like, oh, the combat feels this, or I'd like to see more of this feature. It's like, oh, we want to reach out and say like, hey, we're excited as developers that you're playing this game first off, and we want to learn like what you felt about this game and tell us what you think, because we want to make this game best for everybody, right? We want to try to make this a solid game for everybody who's putting in the effort and the time to play this game and to be a part of this, big journey that we're kind of creating with Below the Stone.
No, that's extremely very, like, I don't know, like I already know, I can already see that this update is going to be a huge success, because with that kind of, reaching out or mentality as a game dev. I know, like you said, a lot of people, or I don't know a lot, but like there's some game devs, they just release the game and then they have no idea what the actual gamers like think about their games. They just don't care. It's just kind of like narrowed down. They have like a very narrow vision of what they want to make versus what the actual players want to get out of the game. So I think that's a very good way to, I don't know, communicate with the actual gamers. I mean, you never know if there's going to be like a sequel, or I don't know if there's going to be like another DLC coming. So that's a great.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big strength of being an indie developer too, because imagine being a AAA studio and you have like 100, 200 employees, and then you're on top of this, like you have thousands of fans that are messaging and talking about all the game and like, oh, this bug and this thing needs to fix. But like an indie developer, like we get to actually have the moment where we can talk with people personally and like reach out and say like, hey, like, since you're so interested in the game and what we're trying to make, want to be a play tester for the game and be a part of this. And like, that's the big thing where I think AAA studios are kind of scared to reach out to their fans sometimes. Like sometimes, sometimes they're scared to reach out to their fans, and like we're trying to build a community with this game. So it's really important to us to talk with people and have like, if you're interested, if you're proactive and want to be a part of this game, we want to like invite you in and be a part of this.
I want to say that's dope.
Yeah, that is very dope. Did you have something to say, Anthony? I think you were.
Oh, no. What is true is like for indie developers, you get that personal level of connection with your fans.
Yeah,
like you said, AAA titles, they don't like, they hear it, but then it just goes one end and out the other end.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And like, for AAA title or studios, they have, like very big hierarchy of people. So like like the bottom, I don't want to say bottom people, like those who actually communicate with the users, they hear it and then they will probably share it with the people who are like up with the board members, whatever. And then they just like, they can just ignore it.
Yeah. There's like,
well, that's not good. Yeah, exactly. That's not going to matter too much. And then kind of like lost into in between.
It's like a big machine. It's everything gets lost. And with indie developers, when you give a review, you're actually talking with the guy who made it.
Exactly.
The guy who's actually like part of this game and who's got acting control on what can happen here. But yeah,
I mean, I know like there's some AAA studios that does that pretty well, but like there's some who are too successful, I guess, and then they just like don't really care. But I think being an indie dev, that kind of is it's a very strong point because you get to have a personal level conversation with the people who made it, and then you can actually have conversation with the people who actually like your fans of your game.
And I actually enjoy it too. Like I'm not just doing this because it's like work or anything. I actually enjoy talking with people who play the game, you know. So it's like it's fun to see somebody who's like, oh man, this was so cool. I love that, you know, like that gives me my energy for the day when it's working on this game. When I see somebody drop a good review on the game, like, oh, this was a cool game. Like that gives me energy for the whole day. I'm like, damn, that one, like that comment helped me out. You know, that was nice that somebody actually like, all it takes is like 5 seconds, you know, just to say like, hey, I like this. And then, you know, developers like, man, you know, suddenly their ego's through the roof, you know?
Yeah.
In a good way.
That's and it sounds to me like one of the questions I was going to ask you is are you going to be moving on to a new something new after this? But it sounds like you're kind of wanting to really build on this game for a while. Am I guessing right?
Yeah, so like we want to make sure like we're not going to start on something new until this is finished, right? Like we don't want to have something that's half done and then we're just moving on to the next project. I know there's people out there that do that. There's the studios that are just like, oh well, all right, this one didn't work, so we'll just move on to the next one. But for us, it's a really big deal making sure this game is 100% where it needs to be, especially when we hit 1.0. We're listening to what fans have to say. We're listening to what players are like yearning for, right? The whole the children yearn for the mines, right? They yearn for it. So like we want to, you know, we're trying to give everybody what they want with the mines, with Below the Stone. So everybody who's paying attention to this game and who's been watching us from the sidelines, people who've been playing and waiting for the next update, you know, we're listening.
Go ahead, Zach.
I say, I thought it's pretty. Me and my friends, for some reason, play a ton of games with dwarfs as heroes. Same. So I'm like, why is it always dwarfs? You know.
I think I have an answer.
I actually want to know the answer.
And me too. I was like, "What's the answer? What's the answer?"
Yeah, what's the answer?
I'm going to stop right there and just let you answer it. But why dwarves?
I think well, do you have an idea? Do you have like a theory of your own, or?
For one, I like dwarves because they remind me of me a little bit. You know, hairy, tiny, strong, very manly, breaking rocks and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I know that I really dig the fact that any game that I can put a mustache on my character makes me happy. And I think on your game, I gave my dude a little gray mustache. So I was like, yeah. But I'd have to say, if I was using an educated guess, a lot of Lord of the Rings as children. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, definitely Lord of the Rings was like a big thing. Like when I grew up, I remember my dad actually there's Lord of the Rings on, and I was sitting there like, hey, can I watch this movie? He's like, no, you gotta like wait and like have the experience, the full experience. You cannot just jump in halfway through this movie. You need the full beginning from end. Yes. You need the full version of it. You can't just jump in mid Lord of the Rings. You got to get the whole thing. I'm like, it's that important, huh? All right, I got you. I believe you. Yeah, he wasn't wrong. And you know, I got my love of dwarves from Lord of the Rings, but my theory is and this was something where I had this theory, and I actually had on Reddit, Tarn, who's the developer of Dwarf Fortress, had an AMA, and me and a friend asked him the same question, and he came up with the same answer as I did before like he answered. Like I kind of knew, and I was like, I wonder what his idea on this is. And then his and my answer were dwarves are like both physically and like metaphorically, they're like compact versions of humans. Like but physically, obviously, but like also in like just the way they are, they're like highly like their personality is like double what they, it's like very loud, very like they have ingenuity, right? They're resource gathering, they're all these like little intricate parts of like what people are, but like compact into this like one thing that like personifies like human like all these human traits, which I really like, right? And I think that's why people like dwarves. So they're like us, but in like a more compact, like more like I wouldn't call them like energetic, but like more like dramatized version of people where they're like, hand me a beer, like this kind of like people love that stuff, like. But I think that's my answer for that. Why people love dwarves.
So
like us.
were you a Gimli fan?
Yes,
I believe that was his name, right? Gimli, the little dude who was fighting with the elf all the time.
Yep.
He's like, I killed more than you, and they would fight back and forth.
It's like 37.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah.
He was awesome. So on that tip, or on that note, because I mentioned my friends, is there any chance for? Do you ever see something in the future of maybe a multiplayer part of this game?
This is a big deal for us, where everybody on the team has been talking about this, what a multiplayer Below the Stone would look like. It comes up very often in discussion. I think the official public answer right now is we talk about it a lot. We discuss it, behind the scenes. What we have to focus on first is getting to the final game, because Below the Stone was like, we run into a lot of things where this game, we want to make sure that everything is right. It's everything I was saying before earlier in this podcast, that we want to make sure everything we got is right. We want to make sure all the players' feedback is answered. We want to make sure this is a polished gem of a game, right? We want to make sure we got everything we need to get done before we start looking at a multiplayer. Because once multiplayer hits, we want it to be like, if a multiplayer happens, we want to make sure it's like everything everybody has been wanting.
It'd be so cool to play this as multiplayer too.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are not the only ones. We hear it a lot. we get.
But
yeah.
I was to say, because when I very first, so I played the demo a very long time ago. Well, I don't know how very long is. When the older I get, like tomorrow could be very long. But I remember when it first dropped, I played it, and I told my friend, because we play Deep Rock Galactic, and we play a lot of games like that, and a lot of mining and fighting stuff games. And I was like, bro, this game's so dope. And of course, the first thing I did was I scrolled to see how many players, and it said single player, and I was like, but you got to play it by yourself. We're gonna have to just share experiences, but. Yeah, so that's why it popped in my head. I was like, maybe one day. That's what I always say.
Believe me, we hear the call. So we hear the call of all the dwarves out there who want to mine with their fellow dwarves below.
Yeah, that would be awesome. What's better than mining with your dwarf fellows?
Yeah, exactly.
I was about to say, you're rocking something of a voice there. Who did the voice for the trailer?
That was actually depends which trailer you're talking about, but
it sounded like somebody from Scotland. I thought you were going to pop on from Scotland today, like, hi, what's going on? Just like, hey, what's up, buddy?
It was Kyle Blessing at Apogee, the publisher of Below the Stone.
Oh. Okay, so publishers do help
Shout out
too.
to him.
I was gonna say, was he trying to sound a little Scottish there, or is he Scottish?
He's trying to sound Scottish.
He did a pretty good job. At least I'm not Scottish, so I can't tell you. But I was like,
from an American standpoint, he is quite Scottish.
Fooled me.
So how big is the team, Mike? The studio.
So with Below the Stone, we have 6 developers. There's myself, the director artist, Andrew, who's the lead programmer, We also have Eric, who's one of our great programmers who joined the team. Dean, who's also a great programmer who's been assisting us on Below the Stone. We have Matt, who's been an amazing artist, super dedicated, super amazing pixel artist on our team. And then we have Eltherion Music, who's been, obviously you heard the trailer, right? He's great. So everybody who's been pulling weight on this game, it's 6 of us. So yeah,
all these awesome and amazing, talented people have made this. That's dope. So how did you like form the team? Like, how did you guys meet?
Interesting story. It's kind of all over the place.
They were playing a game.
Yeah, it was
what happened
all over the place.
They were in space, and this explosion happened. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll start from the beginning of time real quick. First, the Big Bang happened, and then after a while, the Earth was formed, and then it cooled.
I was just waiting for. I was waiting for you to some Fantastic Four, and like we started showing powers. I was good at developing.
That's when I developed superpowers and made this. Anyway, so me and Andrew, we were the first people making this game. We actually met playing an online game. So
Anthony was right.
I was like,
yeah, we met playing a multiplayer game called DayZ, and it was a chance encounter. And we played a while, and we for a few years knowing each other, we'd continue to play games, and eventually I had this concept for he was playing Dwarf Fortress at the time and Minecraft and a few other games, and I was like, I really wanted to get in this game dev thing, and he had programming skills and I had art skills, and I said, what if we combine our powers to make Below the Stone? And then after that, after combining our powers to create Below the Stone, we realized, oh wait, there's more powers that we need music too. And then we met Eltherion Music, who had an amazing. He actually saw us from like he knew us before we even reached out to him, or he saw like we sent a message out for a musician. And I'd get all sorts of messages about people being like, oh, here's my SoundCloud, just here's my rate, here's my SoundCloud, whatever, just message me if you like my music. And then he was the one who was actually like particularly like, he wasn't the type that just dropped a copy paste message and then hoped he got a message back. He actually started talking with me. He was like, oh, this game's amazing, I really like this. And we were just shooting the shit back and forth, talking about ideas, like just going back and forth, like, oh, what's this game about? I love the art. What if this happens in the game? Do you have plans for this? And he was just talking like he was just interested in the game. Eventually, I was like, of all the people who reached out to us, you're the one who actually asked about the game. You didn't just come to us saying like, here's my rate, I hope you just reach back to me. He said, I actually want to know more about your game. So that's why we picked him out of everyone. He's the most interested and like the most dedicated, most humble person out of everybody there. And then we ended up doing a Kickstarter after that. We launched a Kickstarter, got a bunch of people who ended up backing us, a bunch of people who backed our project. And we actually failed our first Kickstarter. And that was a big deal. What do we do after a failed Kickstarter? Does it mean we messed up? Did we do something wrong? And then we realized, no, we didn't do anything wrong. It's just that we didn't have our names out there as much as we really needed them to be. We just kind of throw a Kickstarter out there in the wild and would hope it worked. And it did in a way. A lot of people backed us. A lot of people who are still with us to this day. And they said, oh, man, keep going. You should keep making this game. Don't give up now. And then we're like, you know what? We'll keep it up. We'll keep going for you guys. And then we did keep going. We had publishers reaching out to us after a while, and that's when money started getting involved. Or like, we're just going to throw money at you to make this game. And it's like, okay. I know. Is there any like I didn't like at the time. I was like, publishers are kind of scary. I always heard they're blood-sucking vampires and they're trying to steal your game. So I was like, oh, I'll just block them all. And I started blocking them all. And I didn't realize I was playing hardball with all these people, like by accident. And then this one called Apogee came around, and I blocked Apogee the first time they messaged me. And then they messaged me again. It was Scott Miller. He messaged me again. And I'm like, oh, who's this guy? Blocked him again. And then he messaged me again. I'm like, wait. Okay, let me look this guy up. I look him up, and it's like, oh, he was involved with this game publisher back in the 90s. Okay. Oh, he's probably a fake. Block him again. And the CEO of the company, Terry Nagy at the time, he reached out to me, and he was very humble about it. He reached out and he's like, hey, we're very interested in your game. You got something really cool here. We're not trying to be scam artists here. We're trying to, we're interested in what you're making here. This is really cool. And he gave me like this really like humble, well-written message. And again, at the time I was like, these guys sound like, it sounds like too good to be true. All right, I'll just block them. And then I blocked Terry after. It's like, again, and like, you got to realize at the time, it's like I had these blinders on this and like didn't quite know the full reality of things that were going on. But it's just funny to look back, and then you realize, wait a second, these guys were actually reaching out to us, and I was playing hardball with them without even realizing it. And then eventually we started talking back and forth. They messaged me on like Facebook or something after blocking them on like 3 or 4 different sites, and then I was like, all right, well, let's talk. I can't lose anything by talking. And I talked with them, and we ended up working out a deal, and then we ended up being published by Apogee, and then. After that, we ended up we picked up some more team members. Over time, we worked on Below the Stone, went into early access, picked up Eric, picked up Matt, picked up Dean, and then we had this 6-man team who made Below the Stone. I know I did a lot of talking there, and there's probably, I don't know if there's a lot of any questions about any parts of that, but that was the whole journey up till now.
That's super cool. It's super cool because it's kind of like you guys went on a quest and you picked up heroes upon the way.
Yeah.
It's like, come. Yeah. And the last hero really wanted to join. You're like, no, okay.
And the last hero was like from like the world of Max Payne too.
Yeah.
I just can't believe you blocked Scott Miller.
It was just you learn along the way. You learn some things along the way, just like life's a crazy journey, and you end up seeing a lot of. And it is. Yeah. It's like, I think you're not one, like, you're like one of the few indie devs who will actually push away big publishers and say, oh no, not interested. No, not interested. After because a lot of people who fail Kickstarters, they tend to what should we do? Jump in. They jump right in.
They'll take anything.
Yeah,
because they want to survive. But you're like, oh, we'll survive. We don't need you.
Yeah. It was. I summarized everything in like a really I basically summarized like that whole time period was like a period of 5 months, and I went like that, through it. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that happen when you go through this. You don't learn unless you throw yourself out there. That's my big lesson to indie developers. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking about your indie game, just throw your game out there to the world and see what people have to say about it.
Very good advice. And so if you were to go back to day one, and this is one of our content creators have covered your game, and then he wanted me to ask you this. If you were starting from day one again, what would you change in your approach of marketing the game?
I wouldn't change a thing.
Okay.
No, he wouldn't.
Go through the whole thing. Go through the whole thing again. I think I would. No, I guess I know the reason for the question. Obviously, it's like, what would you do different? And maybe if you were to start a new, maybe if the phrase was like, if you were to start a new game, what would you do again? Or what would you do this time?
Yeah,
I think I think Kickstarter was a big thing for us. I learned so much in that failing that funding. Fail's a big word, right? Everybody in this world runs in fear from the word fail. Like a lot of people do, but I know the people who are strong out there who become successful are the ones who, when they get that, whenever that happens, whenever you see something that could be labeled as a failure, and they're the people who throw up their hands and go, all right, that's it, I guess that was it, that's the end. But the people who keep going is what matters. So that's the big one we learned, where we kept going with it after what presumably a lot of people would just give up. They just be like, okay, well, guess nobody likes this game, and then they're just done, right? But we looked at that as a big win when we had a bunch of people backing our game. You know, a bunch of people, even though we didn't hit the funding, we had like 100+ fans who were like invested in seeing this story get to the finish line. You know, so that was a big deal for us at the time. Just seeing 100 people, 100 strangers interested in this, you know, is a big deal.
Yeah. It is quite difficult when you have so many different indie games out there. Like there's tens of hundreds of thousands of games already out. Like, you know, it is extremely difficult for, like, you know, to meet the correct or right audience that was willing to spend some time or money into your game, because they have no idea who you are. They have no idea what the game is before they actually start playing the demo and all. So I think that is quite an experience. Something a lot of indie devs are appreciative of that, because they know their fans are kind of like what's driving them to work hard and making the games better and all.
Yeah.
Definitely true. Speaking of audience, have any people in your, well, I guess community have ever asked that they wish they can't wait to the game to come on consoles and stuff like that?
Oh, all the time. that's another one. So when we're talking about multiplayer, that's our like follow up. Like, when's it going to be on Xbox, man? PlayStation, Switch? Like Switch is the big one. Yeah. Switch is like oh man, I could see myself playing this at night, and then do a couple runs, gather some resources, and then switch off for the night. And then after I'm done work tomorrow, I'm going to be playing more runs. And you know, this is a game that's kind of built in such a way that like you can just pick it up, do a couple quick runs, and then gather up real quick for maybe some big run you have planned tonight or something. That was the big thing with this game. I wanted the immersion, this idea of like being that kid at school that would be like, oh man, okay, I did my 30 minutes in the morning to like before school to like gather up some stuff for my run I'm going to be doing tonight and stuff. And like, I love that idea of like people like planning out their runs and stuff and building that out. So that's kind of like ultimately what we want the game to be. It's like this big immersive journey of like growing your character and going through this big quest to, you know, below the stones are roguelike, but I learned through the game dev journey that real life, I guess, is a roguelike in a lot of ways too. So and the game dev 100%. Journey itself is a roguelike. Yeah.
Except for, I mean, I don't, unless, you know, there might, I don't know yet, but you know, sometimes when you don't think you get to start back over.
We got to figure that at the end.
Or maybe you do.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite genre of game? Is it roguelike?
Oh man, the one
that has to be it.
It has to.
Yeah, I mean, I keep bringing it up, right? See, like when I was younger, it used to be MMOs and stuff. Like I used to play a lot of Warcraft, and then I was into MOBAs for a while. I used to play a lot of Dota 2. I was crazy about. And then roguelikes, it's just the formula of a quick, like snappy game. You know, you don't have to. It's not like a huge time investment like World of Warcraft. It's not like, oh my god, I spent 6 months getting this gear and whoops, it's all done now. You know, like, oh, the new update came out, now it's not the best gear in the game.
Right.
But like roguelikes, you know, it's like a game that's quick for me, and it's I know there's people that like work, and you know, you sometimes just need a quick game. You can't spend 5 hours just I know some of us like on our weekends and stuff we can, but like or sometimes a late night, but not everybody has like a 5-hour run they can do with games anymore. So being able to have that option for a quick kind of play style is nice.
Mm-hmm. So what
give me flashback to my Destiny days with all that talk there.
So what is your favorite game then?
It's not a roguelike. Well, in a way, it's a roguelike. Off the top of my head right now, DayZ. That is a throwback game a little bit. And that was another crazy early access story. But DayZ has been a fun one for me. That was a first-person shooter, too, or kind of first-person shooter. So a little bit different than, I don't know, were you guys expecting that?
No,
absolutely not.
I mean, technically, that's where it all started.
In a way, yeah, true. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I guess it has to be my favorite game, right? Like, if I was talking about Below the Stone, I didn't say it was my favorite game, then it'd be like,
Yeah, that's true.
That is true.
So as as you play the game too, I noticed that it feels very Zelda-like with your combat, and then you eat mushrooms to get your health back. Is there a little Nintendo?
Oh, of course not. No. We don't want to get Nintendo in on this. We'll get a lot of trouble with that one.
Yeah, you never want to get Nintendo involved. Nope, never.
Nintendo.
Nintendo. Yeah, we have plenty of Nintendo, but Nintendo adjacent, not so much. But yeah, I mean, a little bit. I mean, like the mushroom thing is like, I always, it's kind of funny. It's like Mario. Like those mushrooms are actually like in real life highly poisonous. Like you shouldn't be eating red mushrooms with like polka dots on it.
Yes.
But apparently in video games that means that you're healing. So that's what we went with. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Saturday Night Live sketch of Mario Kart with Pascal guy?
Oh, yeah.
Where she tells him not to eat the mushroom. He goes, "It makes me feel big." That's what you were saying right there. I was like, "Oh, wow." No, I just thought of it because I mean, I guess it's something that's in a lot of games, and it's just when you're with your combat style, kind of like it felt very Zelda-like, because it looks a lot like Zelda. Not it is Zelda, but the fighting style.
No, right, yeah, of course.
And the little hearts is always. Hearts, for some reason, have always been my favorite life meter. And thank God you put so many of them at the bottom. So if it was 3, I would have made it through no levels.
Yeah, we definitely need a lot for Below the Stone. So it's like, I mean, a lot of people point out the Zelda thing for us, surprisingly. Like a lot of people point out Zelda. They say Zelda, Stardew Valley mining, Enter the Gungeon. I've had somebody describe the game as like chibi Dark Souls, which is a little of an awkward one. But I get it, I guess. Chibi Dark Souls? Maybe. I get where they're coming from, right? But Zelda was the one that keeps coming up. So I think you're onto something with that. You're like touching the like vein of something that people are on about with this game.
And now we know too, kids, if you're out in the forest, do not eat the white polka dotted red mushrooms.
PSA, if you happen to be listening to the podcast while you have one of these mushrooms in your hand, do not eat.
Yeah,
drop it right away. Walk away.
Go wash your hands too.
This might have saved your life.
Go get an adult. Get an adult. Give them the mushroom.
Please sanitize the hands too.
Yeah,
just
true.
In case.
But I thought video game was supposed to be education.
In developing Below the Stone, what do you feel is like was the most difficult part? Like you would say, was it like coming up with the story, or did you coming up with development itself, or programming, or which?
There's a lot of parts, right? Like I think the biggest thing is just like making sure like we have a team that like we have a game that's pretty big for like what it's trying to do. Because when I look at games that are adjacent of us, like the teams are always like 10 people, 14 people, 15 people working on the game, right? Like you look at the credits and you see like big laundry list of people working on this game. And we have like up until recently, we only had like 3 or so. And then of this year, we doubled our team size like to 6 people. But like I think it's like the scale of the game we're making, it has been like a challenge where it's like this is a very systems based game. So like on the surface, you look at it, it's like, oh, this is kind of a cute, simple, but you know, kind of dwarf fun game. But then underneath the hood, there's like a lot of stuff going on where, like you could there's a lot of people who sham out their games and they're quick with development and then all the problems come after release, right? And it becomes a disaster after they do that release. With Below the Stone, we've been trying like really, really hard to make sure we do everything right. You know, like we don't want to sham something out. We don't want to do something like, you know, half effort. We want to make sure everything is done to where it needs to be. So that way, when you buy this game, you spent your money right. That this is in good hands. That these developers actually care about you buying this game and care about you participating in this game we're making, you know. But yeah, that's my big lesson I suppose I learned from all this time.
Yeah, that's a good lesson to know that if you're listening and you're thinking about picking the game up, that you actually care that the person picking the game up enjoys it. It's not just throw it out there.
Like, Jimmy didn't have anything good to say about this. Whatever, you know. It's like, you know,
and you think about it too, because how many times do games come out and people nowadays are afraid they might fail. You know what I mean? They might go away.
Yeah,
because it's happened.
True. Yep. So, yep. And early access has been like proving the whole journey of early access has been us talking with fans and proving we're not that type. You know, it's like showing people like, hey, you know, and not being like overt about it and having to remind people, oh yeah, we care about you. Because like if you start saying it enough times, it's like eventually it starts to be artificial, I guess, for people. But like we care and we want to show we care, not by saying it, but actually doing it, you know, by actually committing to making these updates, actually committing to these, you know, making this game the vision that we've been promising to people, you know.
That's awesome.
Very, very. So go ahead.
I was gonna do a light question because we've been hitting some heavy topics, but what's your favorite costume out of all the costumes for your costume update? Do you have one that you like the most? Because I kind of like the top hat.
The top hat's fun. Like a top hat monocle.
Yeah.
I think there's a we have a Chad face one. That one's a good one. We have like an actual like Chad head. And then another one we added was like I like the skeleton set. There's like a rare chance that the skeletons drop like a skull and like a rib cage. Ooh. And you can wear those to make yourself look like a skeleton. So that's a fun one. You can like put it in your wardrobe and make your character like look like a skeleton now, which is a fun one.
Can you put a mustache on the skeleton?
You can.
Well, as I said, we listen to the fans. So
I'm just saying that would make it 10 times cooler if it had a mustache.
I might have to add that to my list. You know, it's funny. We have like dwarf corpses in the game where you can like find loot occasionally in the caves, and like I very intentionally put like a beard on the skeleton. I might have to do that, like a beard version of the skull. So that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep bringing it up. I'm biased, you know, just saying, but I like mustaches.
Yeah, mustache skull. I'll add that to the list as well.
Next year Halloween costume.
yeah, that's gonna be good. And I don't like you have a quite like a lot of fans in the Discord channel as well, and I think a lot of fans are very appreciating, they feel appreciated. I mean, they're very appreciative of you, like listening to their voices, like applying whatever they have requested, or I don't know if it's going to be like, always the case, but like, do you at least like listen to them, communicate with them? I know I'm also on your Discord channel as well, so I know like you've been, communicate with them. So I think that's pretty sweet. I think I don't like in some Discord channels, like even if it's like a big game, you just go in and like no one talks and like devs don't even answer. Like, hello, Dev, and like no one answers.
This is a big deal for me because like and for anybody here who joins the Discord, like one of the big things is like if you spend time talking with us about this game, and if imagine like somebody spent 3 hours looking at something that you made, it's only like a basic like human like dignity thing for me to be able to give you like a 1 minute response on like at least spend some time like talking with you and being like, oh, I'm glad you got to play the game and like get to hear you out, and I'm glad you had a chance to play something I created. That makes me very proud. And also on top of that, it's like that's like the basic like common decency thing to do. If you spent time playing this game, if any of you wrote in our Discord and suggested something, or like, oh, it would be cool if you did this, just like you did when you were talking about the mustache on the skull, right? It's like I would, why not? Let's add it to the list, and it's one of those things where there's people that they'll come in. Sometimes there's people that are like, hey, I noticed this bug. Of course we want to fix a bug. Of course, thank you for letting us know that this is an issue. And there's people who come in and they'll be like, oh, I love the game. It would be so cool if you did this with the combat. It's like, okay, let's look into the combat. Maybe there's enough people who are saying stuff about the combat where they want something a little to mix it up a little bit. One thing I will say from the game dev perspective is we end up playing the doctor while they're the patient. And sometimes the patient comes in, and you got to imagine the situation where the patient comes in and they come in, they're like, oh man, my knee hurts. I need morphine. I need Oxycontin. I need, like, they start naming all these like big drugs. And it's like, wait a second, right? Like sometimes people say like, oh, the combat doesn't work in this game. You should just get rid of it and do this. Right. And you're kind of like, wait a second. Okay. As doctor, I gotta be sure we're not just doing like the extreme just because the patient's telling me I need this. Right. Sometimes the knee hurting is like something simple, or like maybe it's something like underlying where it's like, okay, maybe it was some like, maybe it's something personal where it's like, sometimes we end up learning that somebody's issue with the game, like there's a bug, it actually turned out being a hardware issue, right? So like, and then we end up working out with them, and it's like, oh, it just happened to be their CPU was dying. It's like, okay, well, we helped them figure out their CPU problem, and then in other cases it might be like
put that to the bill.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And then another one is like sometimes it's just like a simple like, oh, the combat's a little like we could do a little more with it, right? Because it's early access and we're still working on this game, so it's like, okay, we'll study what people are saying, see what people think about it. And we're always taking notes as a team, and we're seeing what people have to say. Like every time there's a big update, we end up looking at everybody's responses. Did people like this combat? When we address something, we're very carefully seeing what everybody has to say. I don't know how many indie or big AAA studios do that, or indie devs or whatever, but that's something that's really important to us.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, that's very, I mean, I know like this may sound a little bit like easy to say, but like that's also very difficult because like, you have so many hours in a day that you can spend on like, programming or, doing this bug fixes, or and then you also are kind of like putting aside some time to communicate with the actual fans and gamers of your game, which is very difficult, especially for indie game devs too. Because they're the ones that do everything. They have to take care of everything about the game.
Yeah. Sometimes they have like a second job, and it's like they're balancing the job plus the game plus the community. It's like this. Yeah. How do you, how do you juggle all this stuff, especially if your game hits it big, and then you're like, okay, now I have this job and this big game and this big community, and then you're like, bouncing plates, like it's crazy, right?
Are you getting enough sleep?
Yeah.
Sometimes I stay up a little late. But yeah, like I mean, you'll see me sometimes in our Discord. Like, I'll be replying to messages like 1 or 2 in the morning sometimes, or it's like people are just rolling in. Like, they'll pop into our Discord. Hey, I bought the game recently. It's like, oh, cool. What do you think? So I'm always talking with people.
Reminds me of another person I know.
Yeah, sometimes I.
He's like, what time is it there? I'm like, 1 in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I
Then
wake
he
up
tells me
early.
to go to bed. He goes, go to bed. I'm like, I'm trying.
No, he doesn't sleep. He was at 3 a.m. to play Pokemon.
Who? What, who?
That one time, my daughter woke up early, like in the middle of the night, and then like I had to hold her until she goes to sleep, and then I was like, oh, she like woke me up, and I have to get up and. Yeah, but I think, and also, don't you like stream sometimes too?
Oh yeah, sometimes we stream game development. So we'll on our Discord we'll have like a stream pings. Whenever you join up, there'll be like a question. Oh, do you want to watch the streams? Yes or no? And then we'll ping people who want to watch streams. And sometimes we're just talking with fans. Sometimes we're posting art on the game, posting little updates of what we're doing in the future. So if you want to keep up with Below the Stone, Discord's our place.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like those people who like your fans will bring on other people like to play the game as well, which is like kind of like a networking effect. I don't know, like a positive thing.
I mean, like
totally for free or anything. So
I mean, I just look at it as a bonus. If people bring it up, I look at it as a bonus. But yeah, what were you saying?
No, you're fine. I was gonna say, from where you started to right now, do you feel like you built, like, I know it wouldn't be like numbers isn't really success, right? I can see that a lot of success for you is just people enjoying your game, but do you feel like you have really made a very solid community around this to where you like, yeah, this is dope?
Yeah, I'm very happy with everything that's happened. I think the big thing that is like on my calendar, I guess, is 1.0 release. That's gonna be like I when we released the game and when we've been part of some big events with the game. Like we were in OTK's the first OTK Expo, and that was a big deal. We had a flood of people joining our Discord. We first released into early access, flood of people joining our Discord, like hundreds of people, and like there's like before you can even say hi to like the next person, there's like 3 other people joining the Discord. It's like crazy, right?
Gotta do those batch eyes. Hello.
Yeah, exactly. And like we had these moments, but I think 1.0 when we released the full game, and as we were talking earlier, once we release the consoles and everything else, I think that's going to be a big day for Below the Stone. I think there's going to be like this community is already this thing I'm incredibly proud of. But on top of that, I know one day there's going to be this giant it's going to grow even larger. So what I'm scared of is the moment where and I hope this day never rears its ugly head. I hope there's not a day that comes where I can't talk with the fans one-on-one and let them know, like, I appreciate you playing this game, and that
you're so inundated.
Yeah, I want. Yeah, I don't want it to be like I'm. Whatever happens, where it's like there's too many messages where nobody can read each other. Because that happens sometimes. You have Discords with like 200,000 people.
Yeah.
It's just a flood, It's like I think there's like a nice balance with things where it's like I want a nice community where I can see the same faces and see people talking and stuff. Right now we're in a nice balance, but I know once release happens, there's going to be another big bump. We're going to see what the community looks like after that. So interested to see where it goes.
I don't know how many. I'm not good at Discords because when I do get to the point where there's too many people talking, I'm just like, my ADHD brain goes, nope, not today. There's 16 messages, and I'm like, I can't. There's too much. I just let it go.
Yeah, I think good. I mean, good games come with good devs, so I think that's
super rare to find.
Just got to start releasing video messages like you're in the Hunger Games, like tributes just pop up. Thank you for playing my game. You know, just.
But yeah, I think
tribute. This is a mirror.
yeah. So do you have anything to add before we kind of end the podcast to the fans or to the indie devs who are out there trying to make another game? Or
I think I don't want to. I don't know. Maybe this doesn't come across right, but I think I said everything I need to say. It's like one of those things where it's like, I think like these are the things where like this journey has been a huge thing for us. I think the big thing is always remain humble about the thing you're making. When people join your community, when people, cherish everybody who's part of what you made. And that's what I try to do every day. It's like cherish the people who join your community, who are part of this. Like, and when you do that, you'll start seeing the same faces around much longer. If you don't cherish people, they're gonna one day they might find something else. But when you really like show you cherish a community and what you've made, they stick around. You start seeing the same faces again and again. So that was a big lesson for me, just throughout the whole development of this game. And one day when we hit 1.0, I hope to see all the same faces at the end of the line. When we're running, we're, trying to catch our breath, and there's the at the end of the race, you have that big like the rope or the and you're like running through it, trying to catch your breath, and all those same faces are cheering us on, trying to get to the finish line. That's what I'm hopeful for. I guess if there's anything, do you guys have any controversial questions you'd want to know or anything? I don't mind though. If you have any questions you'd be scared to ask an indie developer about.
Yeah. I don't. Okay, I have a kind of like a question.
They told me I can't say things.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So,
it's that bad, huh?
Okay, so as an indie dev, like obviously your main source of like income, I would say, is like by selling the game. Like how do you like share it with the team? Do you guys kind of like for example, if you get like a chunk of money from the publisher and then you just share it, or you just like base off salary and then you put aside some money for later development, or how does like the financial thing work for the indie studios?
I guess it really comes down to every individual in a company. So like depending on where you are, it might make more sense. Like let's say if somebody spent 4 years working on a project, for them it might make sense to give them a royalty of what the product makes, right? Versus like the person who joined like 2 months ago, it might not make sense to give them the same royalty amount as like somebody who just who joined and has been working at it for so long. So like for some people it's a royalty. So like for like the people who've been around the longest, there's a royalty. But for people who've been working on the game as it is now and who've been joining recently, it makes more sense to be like, okay, salary based on like, work put in. So like, okay, we did this many hours. Okay, we'll do this pay. We did this much work. We'll do this pay. So like, really depends on the situation, and it's like a person by person thing. And you hear a lot of stories like this in indie development in general. I don't think just copy pasting the same contract over and over makes sense. Right. It's like you want to make it like every person, if it has like, it makes sense to have a certain way of like dealing with the financials of a company like this. So, some person might only be able to work part-time and somebody might be full-time, and you have to like figure out what makes the most sense with that. Right. But yeah.
That was a good question. I've always wondered what the finance.
I was kind of curious, and also like for example, if the game is released already, and then like if let's say there's like few bugs or whatever, and then like you had like a big team, let's say, and then you kind of want to shrink it down. Like I don't know if you want to like shrink the team or anything, but like if not everyone is kind of like needed for the specific project, do you guys kind of sometimes kind of like separate, or like how do you like, is it like
I think you'd have to I think what you'd have to do is be very clear. Like this is just like business 101. Like you got to communicate with your people that are working on something, and like if you can't like when you finish the game, just like throwing those. Oh, by the way, we're done. You know, like
you don't. Yeah,
you want to you'd probably want some lead up of like yeah, exactly. You'd probably want some lead up of like oh, you know, as we get close to the end here, we might need like 3 or 4 months more of work once we hit, I don't know, 1.2 update or something like that, 1.3 update. Once we know the game is done, we might say like, oh, you know, we're gonna roll back hours on this game, and if we're lucky, you know, we might actually put hours toward another project. You know, so it might be depending on. It really comes down to your studio too. Like, what's the plan? Do you want to put is it going to be a small break in between each game, and there's going to be like a 6 months where there's nothing going on, or is there going to be like seamless transition where it's like, oh, this game, and now everybody's going to be working on this game, or is it going to be like slowly you're going to tack 1 or 2 people on the next project, and like they'll kind of leapfrog from one to the other as like work is less needed on the first one and more is needed on the second one. I think optimally that's like the best place to be, where you're like slowly leapfrogging everybody to the next one. So like at first it might be like of your 10 people, 2 people are working on the future project, and then you slowly pull out and you go, okay, now 3 people are working on it, 4 people are working on it, 5 people are working on it, only 5 people out split, and then slowly pull everybody out and onto the new one. Yeah, I could see something like that. I think that question is like very dependent on the studio and like what's going on.
I would say that sounds pretty smart, because I could see where, just like you're saying, like everything's done, or not everything's done, but there's only a few bugs. Everything's rolling good. The updates don't need, say your artist is good, you know, doesn't have anything going on for a while, and you're like, hey, we've got this other project. Start jamming out the art for this project, or start working on the music for this project. And then if something does come out where you're like, okay, we need update, we need more art for this, or we need more music, come back real quick and then go back to that. Because then at least they have steady. I could just see you making one game, and then everybody's like, all right, now what, boss? And you're like, I don't know. Like, oh, God.
That's like the worst answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think it's like, calm down, everyone. So I think it's like, I think it really is like a leapfrog, and like slowly, it's like a slow process. Like optimally, you'd want it to be something where it's a smooth transition, one slowly going on to the next thing, and then you might have like a thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna have like a small skeleton crew working on the first game, where it's like, okay, 2 or 3 people, if needed, can jump back on and like fix whatever is needed to be fixed, and then jump back without taking a huge amount of time away from the next project. Or maybe you can like throw in again, this is one of the things where Below the Stone, we were very careful about everything we've done so far, where if there are problems in the future, or like if there are features we want to add in the future into the game, or like new biomes or new content or new enemies, theoretically it would be very easy to do a content update to like jump back and be like, oh, by the way, guys, we're doing 6 months into the final release, we can be like, oh, content update, new biome, new this, new that, and it wouldn't take as much effort as the initial, building all that foundation took. But yeah.
I think Mike.
This is the first time we've ever asked that question. It was a really good one, George.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Mike and the studio got it. I mean, they have everything planned. Everything is working.
I mean, they're keeping their fans active and
active.
The content.
Business is great. Everything is well planned. They have a like-minded people in the team. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's it's gonna just fly, and it's gonna the game's gonna take off even more than what it is now.
You think about it. I was just thinking about when, we're thinking about all the different jobs. It seems like the job that would almost always be needed would be social media. Like somebody constantly answering, Discord, answering X, which was the Bluebird at one time, or wherever you got your stuff. That would be like the all-time, like you're just like, hey man, I haven't slept in days, like.
Plus AI takes over, and you just have an AI respond to everybody.
Whoa. I'll just make sure I'm listening. No, I'm just I always joke around that AI is going to be our overlord. So when everybody talks bad about it, I'm like, hey, shut up. Don't. They didn't mean it. They didn't mean it.
But yeah.
But that was super awesome.
Mm.
Cool.
Now we got to go in the dungeon and hack stuff up.
Yeah. So everyone,
The bats always get me.
Yeah.
I hate the bats.
go play Blow the Stone. It's awesome. Amazing music and all that, graphic, and awesome devs. So yeah.
Well, I hope you guys, for those watching, enjoy Below the Stone. I enjoyed being a part of this episode as well. So thank you for the invitation. This was awesome.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was super awesome having you.
Yeah, exactly. I learned a lot too.
Actually, I think was there a tutorial that told you to eat the mushrooms to get health?
I don't think so. So we
Because
might
I
have to
died
do
a
it.
lot until I figured that out.
Yeah, we might have to. Yeah.
What happens if I eat this? Because I was like, my hearts are down to 1.5. They're coming at me.
I mean, isn't that always the 101? You see something like, is this edible?
Yeah.
Where were you, Anthony, when I was freaking out? You could have been my guy, man.
Well, you have to have that one person apart who tests everything out.
When your dude dies, it's so sad when he dies and he just flops on the ground. I was like, when they take him off, I was like,
Yeah.
and you lose stuff. I was like, what happened to my weapon? I got my old dinky sword back. I'm like, great, here we go. Then I was like, wait, I could have been eating these mushrooms the whole time.
Believe me, there's some people who find that out a little too late. So you're not the only one.
I don't feel so
That's
bad
right.
now.
That's why it's called roguelike.
Yeah.
Another PSA: do not eat red mushrooms.
Yes, not in real life.
Another
They
reminder.
make me feel strong.
No, not in real life. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for coming to this episode. At least I enjoyed it, or I think all three of us
same here.
really enjoyed it. And I think
I loved it.
Yeah. And when I don't know, you guys are planning to release the multiplayer mode, we can invite you and
Or
now the pressure's on. I plead the fifth.
I'm sorry. It's my fault.
No. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for coming and good luck with the game. I know it's already a success. I think it's gonna take off even more. Yeah. Awesome.
Is it? I know this. He was wrapping it up. I'm sorry, I did it again. Have you? Has there been any connection with this game and Minimap, like being on the Minimap site? Have you seen the Minimap site at all?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Well, if you're on there, so I was wondering.
Yeah. If you ever want to, come join us. If you make an account, let me know, and then we also have some gamers. Can kind of find out about the
Absolutely.
game.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of love for that game on there.
Yeah, and our content creator really loved it too. So
yeah, I saw that.
He created content on it.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for this amazing episode. I'll see you for the next episode, and I'll see you in the future, Mike. I'll probably keep talking to you on Discord as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Right,
I'll hit you up on the Discord.
Yeah, please do.
Yes, join his Discord. Okay, thank you guys.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to join it now because I'm gonna have to join it.
You have to suggest. You have to bring the mustache.
Yeah, bring that up. Yeah, actually, bring that up on the Discord.
I'm just saying. You ever seen a skeleton with a mustache? It adds a new.
It'd be so funny if, like, right after the episode, like everybody joins, starts messing. Like they're just wondering why.
Where's our mustache?
Yeah. Why is everybody saying this? Yeah.
If you want to get real crazy, add some aviators with the mustache.
Yeah.
You're golden, my friend.
Yep.
Okay. See you guys.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
too.
Come back. Please come back.
Yep.
You said that to everybody. No.